Hey guys, my name is Michael, and I bet you listen to Tones and I. Not because you like listening to them, but because you're insane. Okay, on with the video. Hey, wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Come here. When was the last time you went to church? I thought since today is Sunday, I would record a video praising the Lord. Is what I would say if today was Sunday. It's actually Monday now. I was going to record this video on Sunday. Funny enough, I didn't have mic problems this time. What I did have was my neighbor's dog barking the whole entire day, the whole entire night. So the whole time I would have had the dog in the background barking, and I didn't want that. So now it's Monday. Thank you. Thank you, dog. It's been a while since I last went to church. I'll admit that. There are some things I miss, like the endless amount of bread and getting secondhand high from church incense and myrrh. Not that myrrh, this myrrh. But that's not what I want to hear me to talk about. No. I'm not here to lecture you about the history of Christianity or Greek Orthodox. I'm not here to talk about the basics of religion. No. I'm not even going to tell you, if you aren't a believer of the faith, that it's an automatic hell for you. No buts, no sorries, do not pass go, just straight up hell. We are here to have fun as we praise the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. This is a perfect time to do so, as we are almost done with spring, which means it's summer now. Before I get into the bread of what this video is about, see what I did there? Let me give you a brief teaching history lesson that surrounds our ominous furry friend of today's video. Unfortunately, I don't have any green screen to stand up as I tell you this story, so just imagine the light of God just shining in the background, or that big chandelier fixture that you look at as a kid trying to calculate who's going to get crushed by it if it were to fall. When I was a kid, back in my younger years, every year in the summer, my parents would take me to church. Not just on Sundays, no, it was Monday through Friday for a thing called Vacation Bible School. It also can be referred as Vacation Bible Studies, but that just sounded way less fun and lame to younger me. So no, Vacation Bible School is the better option. But yeah, it's a 5-day long event that occurs in the summer that teaches about the Lord, that is also fun for the kids. I checked out this one website that shows the kits that they can do for the week, but they all look lame. Except they do keep up with the second favorite thing about going to VBS when I was little, the BMBs. No, it's not short for Big Money Boys. Come on, stay with me here. It's short for Bible Memory Buddies. There's some things linked to the characters like the Bible point, verse, study, but then again, younger me couldn't carry that because the idea of obtaining all 5 of them is just a challenge that I accepted very much so. Just getting little figures of these guys, awesome. I don't have a great image of the ones I want to point out, but the Lab Buddies were the best one, hands down, no competition. These are what they're growing up with now. Disgusting. But now that that's over, let's finally get into the main topic of this video. The best part of Vacation Bible School was a chipmunk named Chatter Chipmunk. I'll read you Chatter's character wiki to tell you who he is, as the wording is just amazing to me. Chatter Chipmunk was a star of a series of Christian videos shown at vacation Bible schools across the US in the late 90s to the early 2010s. Chatter was a puppet chipmunk who went on various adventures around the world and learned about Jesus. Chatter was retired at some point in the 2010s and now only does online videos. Despite Chatter's long run, little is known about the show. Something they forgot to mention is not only is he a big Jesus lover, he's also a big fan of M&Ms.
Would you like some M&Ms?
3 things Chatter Chipmunk loves: helping others, Jesus, and M&Ms. That's all you need to know. Now, the craziest part about this, minus the ominous wording of that last sentence to me, is that it's not far from the truth. I had to really look up and find Chatter Chipmunk before just saying screw it and going onto YouTube. I actually found a website that highlights a majority of Chatter Chipmunk content from a website called dove.org. Now, unfortunately, it does not have a way of showing you the videos of Chatter Chipmunk, but what it does is that it gives you a 1 single review on Chatter's Wild West adventure, where it has a -1 rating because the bad guys tried to take the herd. Yes, that's literally the reason why. Out of all the Chatter Chipmunk content that they show on that website, there's only 3 that I remember from watching at VBS. The one that I just mentioned, Chatter's Wild West Adventure, Chatter High Seas Adventure, and Chatter's Science Adventure. So after that, I went on YouTube and I thankfully found videos of Chatter Chipmunk. I went to this one channel called Life Tree Kids, and unfortunately they don't have the science one on there, which is very unfortunate. They do have the High Seas one, but that's not the one I'm going to focus on today. They also have a 2D animated video series of Chatter, but that's not my Chatter Chipmunk. This is my Chatter Chipmunk. Not this. But there is a live action OG Chatter Chipmunk series that I have not seen yet. So there's a 4th one. It doesn't even say it on the website. It doesn't even mention it anywhere else but this YouTube channel. This is called Chatter Chipmunk, The Mystery of the Missing Pandas. I will say, after watching the 5 video series and then comparing it from memory again to the other 3 I've seen, this one's probably the weakest. But don't let that stop you from watching Chatter Chipmunk. You can just tell from looking at Chatter's eyes that he has seen some shit. I kid you not, he gets put into so many dangerous and unfortunate situations that he really does not deserve. I'm telling you that right now. But what is The Missing Pandas about? So it's about Chatter volunteering at this place called Pop's Panda Paradise to help with pandas. But when he arrives, Pops, the owner of Pop's Panda Paradise, tells him that the pandas have gone missing. Someone took the fucking pandas. They need to find the missing pandas before the certified zoo inspector in pandas shuts down Pop's Panda Paradise. But now let's cut to the characters who are basically stereotyped into one characteristic that will surround them for the rest of this video series, excluding our precious Chatter. Going in order of who we meet, we first have Houdini, who is the wild card of the series and is a master of disguise and disappearing. Get it? Because his name's Houdini. That's why they named him that, and that's why his characteristic is like that. Next is Princess, who loves the color pink and being the daughter of Pops and his wife. Our next character is Moose, who is said in the video description to be a dimwit, and that's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. That's pretty much his character arc. Next is the man himself, Pops, who is the kind elderly man who owns the paradise, but also every time he says a word that starts with the letter P, he really punctuates the P and spits on everyone whenever that happens.
Pop Panda Paradise. Positive pandas, pampering, panda pool, panda playground. Positively pandas pickle. Forget the pickles, people. Pandas poop. Panda Protection Patrol, PPP.
I didn't know we'd be sitting in the splash zone.
After that is Pop's wife Patty, who is a hard-working, handy woman. I guess because of the 2 boats she has around her. Hers is the weakest one, if you can't tell already. Then we get to Janet, who is actually named Jane. And the reason why she goes by Jane is because she's obsessed about recycling, as the video description calls her an Earth Watcher. And so she says how she doesn't use the T in her name, so she recycled it, and now she goes by Jane. Hers is my least favorite, if you can't tell. And finally, our last character is the Inspector, who is British. But not only that, but he is 99% blind without his glasses, and I just feel bad for the poor guy. Now, with that out of the way, let us finally jump into episode 1. Chatter arrives to Pop's Paradise, where he meets Houdini himself, Larry Houdini. He introduces himself to him, and then Princess shows up all of a sudden, and somehow Chatter just misses Houdini leaving. He was literally right next to him. How did you miss him? Princess then sends Chatter on his way to go to Pop's Panda Paradise, but as he's going to try and walk the right path, Princess tells him to go the left path. After he passes that sign, we see it get moved as the arrow was tampered. We see a car going the right path instead of the left. Quick question. Where did those people in the car go? Because they don't show up at all. So did they just disappear as well? Or did they go somewhere else? Are they volunteering at a different panda place? or did they just die? As Chatter is singing carols about Jesus, he hears some rambling and then screams as Moose gets a little FNAF jump scare in front of him.
I thought I smelled M&Ms.
Quick question, Moose. How did you smell M&Ms? He then proceeds to take Chatter's M&Ms. What the hell, Moose? Not cool. Moose then leads Chatter to the group as Chatter mentions to Pops that he can make M&Ms disappear. Pops did not like that.
Disappear? Oh dear.
He then tells the group that the pandas have been missing for about a month now, which is very worrisome. Pops then mentions how the Panda Protection Patrol,
PPP.
yes, that's its name, is sending an inspector down as well to inspect the pandas, see how they're doing. If they fail the inspection, they will basically be blacklisted from zoos wanting to give them their pandas into the Pops Panda Paradise. We then hear rustling in the bush, which worries our group, and then we get into something that will happen very often in this video series, which is a montage. So this first montage is called the assault montage. So they ensue on a assault montage on the person that is in the bush. That is probably the panda poacher. And that's the end of episode 1. We'll see the identity of the potential panda poacher in the second episode. Episode 2, we then come back to see the identity revealed of the potential panda poacher. And oh god, it's the inspector. After that kerfuffle is done, Pops then sends Princess down to basically distract the inspector by checking out the panda playground. While that's happening, Chatter then goes down to the office to call his friends to help him out. On his way, Chatter then runs into Houdini trying to disguise himself against a fence. We then come back to Jane and Moose painting the shack, and Jane goes to help or convince the inspector that he's seeing pandas. This is probably a good thing because the way their way of painting the shack is a bit worrisome. What's in that bottle? What's in that bottle, Jane? That's not water. That's too dark to be water. We then have the inspector going to inspect the panda playground and cool playground montage. After that's all done, Princess gives the inspector some flowers, which I guess he's allergic to, and sneezes so hard the glasses fall off, and for some reason Princess just starts stomping on the flowers and ends up breaking the inspector's glasses. As Princess goes to look for new pair of glasses for the inspector, Jane and Moose go and distract the inspector. As Chatter's making a call to one of his friends, he gets locked inside and the phone line gets cut. Thankfully, there's a window that's just open, so he jumps out the window and passes by Houdini, but he didn't even recognize Houdini this time because he had a better disguise against that fence. Houdini reminds me of those TikTok role players, you know, the ones that talk like, give me some of your time, but would you mind if I saw the pandas? I would really like to take a picture of the pandas. Some things happen. Jane gives the inspector some recycling lore. Then Chatter meets back up with Pops. Pops has been praying. Something I want to point out. The Christian stuff in the Chatter franchise never is in your face. It is never just like, look at it, look at it, look at it. Whoever was behind Chatter, they knew entertainment first, Christian message second. Back to episode 2, Pops whips out the panda tracker, which starts to beep very vigorously and loudly, and then they start to hear rustling in the bush, and that's the end of episode 2. Episode 3, we see that the rustling from the bush actually was Princess, not a panda. Pops, in anger, throws down the panda tracker with all his might, and they go leave somewhere else as Houdini comes in and takes the panda tracker. Pops then talks to Chatter about the bad bamboo and that if they cut the bad bamboo, then the pandas will come back. So you know what that means. Cool cutting bamboo montage. After Chatter realizing that this is some hard ass work after putting out his anger by biting the bad bamboo, he takes a break to get some water and he finds a tractor that would make the work easier. That's when the evil hand that flipped the sign and cut the wire puts a branch on the gas, and now Chatter is driving a tractor that's out of control. After Chatter almost commits vehicular manslaughter on Pops, he gets flung into a tree.
I'm a monkey!
And wouldn't you know, there's a python in there. And you would probably think that they'd bring out a puppet python, but no. They brought out a whole ass real python. After Pop is just that guy and gets the python away from Chatter, he then tells Chatter to probably just go up with Patty to paint the shack. As Chatter is trying to attempt to paint the shack with the spray paint, he puts it on the lowest setting because he's a little small boy. The evil hand puts it on the highest setting, making the spray paint go out of control. But what's even funnier is that as Patty's going to help him, she stumbles on the ladder, but she clearly pushed that down. That was on purpose. That gets paint all over his face, all over his eyes, around his eyes. And it's even funnier when Patty is still trying to help, like, oh, let me help you out there still. And she just puts her hand in the paint jar, and then just both hands just grabs his ears for some reason, and now he's got paint in his ears. What the hell, Patty? Oh, God, Chatter. I'm so sorry. Here, let me help you up with that. No, stop. Oh, please. God, no. No I'm more. I'm so sorry. Let me get it. You're right here. Paint on me, little please. Right no, here. Oh, I'm so sorry, dude, Chatter. Really, let me help that up. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Panda Paradise. As Chatter's waiting for Patty to get some stuff to clean him up, he runs into the inspector. The inspector actually runs into Chatter. And the inspector, because the way he's painted, he thinks he's a panda. Patty comes back and she realizes that the inspector thought that Chatter was a panda. She's like, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. Now the inspector does think that there is at least a panda on the site. But Chatter's like, no, I'm lying. That's not cool. I don't want to be dishonest. Jesus doesn't like that. I think every time someone is telling him this, they're like, Chatter, just this one time. Yeah, I don't really know. I just don't want to be dishonest, and I don't think Jesus would like that. Oh, Chatter. Aww. Can you just shut the fuck up? What? So after that, Patty begrudgingly lets Chatter tell the truth to the inspector, and as he's going to the inspector to tell the truth, he gets tangled up in some rope and is dangling in the air as the rope's about to break, while Jane and Moose and the inspector, to some degree, are just watching him dangle. He is screaming at the top of his lungs, but all Moose and Jane can do is be like, wow, that's beautiful. Wow, look, Inspector. Look at those panda. Look at that panda. So graceful. Such a beautiful creature. And that's the end of episode 3. Now on to episode 4. We cut to not Chatter first. We actually cut to the inspector fumbling around blind again. Now we finally cut back to Chatter, and he's just hanging and the rope breaks. And Chatter is fine though. Why did I sound so Texan? Then finally cut back to Chatter, who is still hanging from the rope, and then it breaks. But Chatter's fine, because he is just built different. Jane and Moose realized that it was actually Chatter finally. Jane and Moose love the panda disguise, but Chatter still isn't with it. He is going to tell the inspector, and Jane and Moose, they don't like that. They're kind of just like going up in his face, just like all like guilt tripping him. You wouldn't want Pop's Panda Paradise to close down now, would you, Chatter? Chatter goes all depressed back to Pops. Pops cheers him up with the word of God. Pops then cleans up Chatter with a dry, I'm telling you now, a dry towel that miraculously leaves no stain behind on the towel and cleans up Chatter 100%. Everywhere, every single nook and cranny. Chatter then goes back on his quest to tell the inspector the truth as he runs into Jane and Moose, who threaten him again and try to kidnap him with a net. Moose then does some kung fu moves, which I mean, Houdini then appears as a panda and fights them off, and Chatter tells them to go find the inspector as he pummels them to the ground, and then he skirts off away. By the way, he's dressed up as a panda. I don't know if I said that already. Chatter finally finds the inspector, who's about to head out, and he's not going to make it in time, but you know what's going to help him make it in time? The zip line. He had a fear earlier about riding the zip line in the first episode, and now it's being put to the test. Will he ride the zip line? Episode 5, he does ride the zip line and makes it to the inspector. Patty and Pops then get on Jane and Moose for their shifty shenanigans, rightfully so. Inspector and Chatter come back to the group. Inspector is now a sad boy because he saw zero pandas. After an apology is given to the inspector explains that he still needs to see pandas or he will shut down Pop's Panda Paradise. He will make sure no zoo gives Pop's Panda Paradise any more pandas. No more pandas for Pop's Panda Paradise. When out of nowhere, out of the blue, Houdini, Larry Houdini himself, appears. Princess being very adamant that he's the panda poacher, wants him arrested. But Houdini actually reveals who it is. The panda kidnapper was Princess the whole time. How did I not realize Princess was the panda kidnapper this whole time? How did I not realize it until I saw it? And the reason why Larry Houdini knows that Princess was the one who made the pandas go missing is because the trackers are on her wrist. How did I not realize that in the 3rd episode? How did I not realize that at all? I feel stupid. Now that it's revealed that Princess was the true kidnapper, I have questions now. Why didn't she just lie about putting up flyers and ads on the internet? Because if she did, no Houdini, no Chatter, no more Pop's Panda Paradise. What happened to the car of people in the 1st episode? I'm still adamant about that. So after it's found out that Princess is the real person behind it, she runs, and then, not a montage, an epic chase scene then occurs. As the gang is trying to get Princess back, to be responsible for stealing the pandas. Hello? She's going to go down the zip line, but then it seems like the zip line has already been used. But then all of a sudden, Princess is then cornered by the same python that was in that tree with Chatter. How did that python get there so fast? Inspector then uses his glasses to put a glare on this python so that it blinds him. Though it misses, so doesn't really do much. They caught Princess and the python has been subdued. So then they ask Princess, like, hey, why did you kidnap the pandas? I kid you not, it is because of 2 things. 1, because of the mud, and because they weren't pink. She was so tired of seeing black and white and just wanted a little bit more pink that she said, screw it, I'm gonna kidnap all the pandas. Who cares if my family's business gets shut down? I don't want to see it anymore. They're not pink. So now, not only did I have a few questions earlier, I now have even more questions about this. So then they're like, well, where did you put the pandas? And Larry is like, dude, did you not check Princess's room? And you think because they showed a python, they probably get at least 1 panda and just like show it in like multiple areas to make it look like there's 5. Get 5 shots of pandas. Maybe find like a baby one that you can get a shot of. So 2. No, this is what they do instead. What the fuck? I have even more questions now. How did she get them in there? Was she feeding them that whole month? They've been gone for a whole ass month. There is no way that Pops and Patty did not realize that Princess has been smuggling panda food into their house to, make sure the pandas don't fucking die. How did their parents not know they were in her room? There had to be like some point, where they just stumbled up into her room, or maybe they just didn't realize it. Maybe they were just like, oh, the pandas are visiting Princess's room. That's adorable. And then they go back into to the panda paradise, and they're just like all scared now. Oh my god, where did the pandas go? How did she safely get the trackers off without them not being, angry or like lash out at her? Especially if she was touching the younger pandas to get the trackers off. The mama pandas would have definitely been on her ass. My final question, the biggest plot hole. What was she going to do with the pandas after Pop's Panda Paradise got shut down? My plan worked. The pandas are missing. The inspector gave family's business a bad review and they're shutting down Pop's Panda Paradise. What do I do with the pandas now? The inspector then lets Pops know that they have 1 hour to get the pandas released, but they also need to finish everything else that they did not get done because Jane and Moose were little stupid idiots. All of a sudden, Chatter's friends arrive to help in, you guessed it, cool cleaning montage. After that cool cleaning montage is over, the day is saved and Princess is grounded, rightfully so. Also, the inspector is gonna just, forget about it. He's gonna keep it under the rug. I guess. As Larry Houdini, Pops, and Chatter Chipmunk walk off into the sunset, Houdini disappears in a better, more believable way. And Chatter was like, hey, I still never got my picture with pandas. And Pops lets him know he can fix that. And that's the end of Chatter Chipmunk, the mystery of the missing pandas. I just want to repeat again what I said earlier about the people behind the Chatter cinematic universe is that they knew what they were doing. Have it be entertaining to kids first, then sprinkle in just a little bit, the love of God. But this is why Chatter Chipmunk is peak Christian media right next to VeggieTales. I see way too many Christian productions nowadays of where their religion's being persecuted or they're trying to be silenced by the whole world while also trying to make it marketable towards kids. That does and will never work. I'm just telling you that right now. It never has and it never will. If it does, oh God. But I hope me discussing about Chatter Chipmunk that we will see a revival in our beloved #1 Eminem fan and Chatter goes back to its proper form and does not look like this anymore. Oh! Ew! Gross. I don't know if people want me to talk about the other Chatter adventure, the High Seas Chatter adventure, but if this video just does amazing, then maybe I'll consider it. And if this video somehow does amazing, then thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Well, that's the end of the video today. If you guys like what you saw here or would like to fangirl about Chatter with us as well, please do so in the comments below. Also, subscribe, as that will put a smile on my face. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to spend a crazy amount of money on Chatter Chipmunk merchandise and trying to get a full collection of the Bible memory buddies. But, yeah. Okay, bye.